Hello, everybody, and welcome back. This is my final episode of Shogun. This is episode 10, and it's the season or the series finale. I'm gonna give my overall series wrap up in a couple of minutes. Let me tell you what happens in this episode. The episode starts exactly where the end of the last episode concluded, whereas Mariko sacrifices herself to save Toranaga's family. They now are allowing Toranaga's family, who was held pretty much hostages in Osaka, to be free to go back to the village where the fishing village where Toranaga is, and they also allow Blackthorn to leave as well. Basically, everyone's sad because Mariko had sacrificed herself for this cause of Toranaga. At the fishing village, Blackthorn's ship is burnt, and he's all devastated and said, "Oh, what the hell's going on?" Toranaga starts chopping some villagers' heads off to say that the Christians burned down your ship. So he's trying to find vengeance, take vengeance out on the people at the village to find out who burned down the ship. Basically, the whole story of this episode was taking place at the fishing village. They never really go back to the what's going on in Osaka. The whole show is Blackthorn trying to save the townspeople, the village people, because Toranaga is killing everybody, trying to supposedly find the person who burned down the ship. During that time, Fuji, who was Blackthorn's consort, she's deciding that she's leaving. She's her time as being his consort is over. She's gonna go off and become a nun. Since she lost her husband and son, she doesn't want to, be around anymore. She's gonna go up, live in a convent, become a nun. Blackthorn, try to convince her, tell her just stay, be my consort, don't go anywhere. Yobashiki is finally caught, and he confesses what he's done. Actually, they found out what he did because of Miriko's death, and somehow they got, Toranaga has spies everywhere. He finds out that Yobashiki is part of it, and basically, he says, Toranaga says, "Hey, you have to kill yourself." Before he actually kills himself, Toranaga actually tells him everything that's going to happen and what already started happening. So basically, the big fight scenes that we were waiting to see never happens, because basically Toranaga tells him that before the war is going to start, the heir's mother, who was going to be on Ishido's side, since Mariko did what she did, sacrificed herself, she's not gonna back Ishido anymore, and is gonna tell the heir to not give Ishido the heir's army. So Ishido is gonna have very little people to help him fight. So basically, Ishido is gonna lose. In the book, as well as other versions of Shogun, in the end, there's an epilogue where Toranaga actually says that after the battle, Toranaga wins, and Ishido gets captured, and they bury him alive with only his head. They bury his body, but leaves his head, and just leave him there. And supposedly he lives for about 5 days before he finally succumbs to his death. But they don't talk about that in this story. They just, to say that they basically just, it was like I can't call it flash forward, just like a glimpse of on the battlefield as Toranaga and Ishido look at each other, and Ishido gets a message from the heir's mother saying that you have no army. And then Toranaga basically tells Yobashiki that this is how I'm going to win the war. Toranaga tells Yobashiki why, I don't know. He tells him that he keeps Blackthorn around because Blackthorn entertains him. And Blackthorn goes around always, even from episode 1, he always goes around threatening the Portuguese and the Christians. The Christians always found him to be a threat because he said that because he has a chance to go back on his ship, go back to England, and then England could start a war with Portugal. So instead of having a war, Toranaga actually, with the insistence of Mariko, burns Blackthorn's ship. That way, Blackthorn can't go anywhere. the ship is destroyed. He can't start a war with the black ship, the Portuguese ship, the black ship. So everybody is happy. This is a little bit different in the sense that Toranaga, in the other versions, Toranaga was the one who come up with the idea to keep Blackthorn alive. In order for Blackthorn to stay alive, because the Christians want him dead, is to burn down his ship so he can't go anywhere. So he's useless without a ship. Can't go home without a ship, right? So Blackthorn gets, he has to stay there. So in the other versions, Toranaga actually is the one who actually had the master plan to burn down the ship, and so makes him stay. This version, they said that Mariko went to the priests, those Christian priests, and told them that we're gonna burn down the ships, burn down Blackthorn's ship, so he won't be a threat anymore. And basically, Mariko tells Toranaga. Toranaga says, "Okay, let's burn down the ship." Blackthorn is now forever gonna stay in Japan because Toranaga actually said if he's gonna rebuild another ship, I'm just gonna burn it down again. He's not going to let him leave because he finds him entertaining, whatever that means. The way the show actually ends is Toranaga tells Blackthorn, who was begging Blackthorn was begging Toranaga to stop killing the village people because, he's going to give up his life to save the village people because Toranaga he's beheading everybody, trying to supposedly find the person who burned down the ship, which is all a ruse because he's the guy who did it, right? But which is kind of messed up. He's chopping all these dudes' heads off and putting it on a spike. But Blackthorn, he was going to give up his life for these people, and basically Toranaga says, "Okay, forget it. I'll stop. Go build me a fleet of ships." And the end of the episode is Blackthorn, just like the other versions too. He's pulling up his old ship, the Erasmus, to just to start rebuilding his ship so he could go home. But like Toranaga says, he's never going to go home because as soon as he's going to build that ship, he's going to burn it down. So yeah, that's how it ends. We never see a war. If you read the books, the war obviously happens in other versions of the books, but Toranaga actually wins. If you want to know the details of it, Toranaga ends up winning the war and becomes a regent again. I think he becomes a shogun himself. But as time goes on, the heir finally comes of age and he becomes a leader. That's episode 10. It's not a clean wrap up, to be honest with you. It was actually, I think it was done pretty poorly. Let me give you a whole wrap up of the what I think about this whole show. It started off with a bang, I thought. It started off pretty cool, everything. I like the dark take on it. I like it because the version in 1980s, it was bright colors, everyone was lit up. This version, everyone had the right haircuts, the costume was perfect, the grittiness, they were at a fishing village, so it was on an island, so the water, everything was wet, dirty, muddy, so the cinematography of it was awesome. The acting was okay. The Anna Swai, who was in, like I said on the earlier episodes, she was in Godzilla Monarch, the episode, and I think she's coming to her own. She's doing a lot of stuff for Apple TV and stuff like that as well, and I think she carried the show. Toranaga was okay, but he was so stiff half the time. I thought anyone could have done that part. Blackthorn, I did not like him I thought he was a horrible actor. I think it just didn't come out right. Richard Chamberlain did the television show, and everyone knows who Richard Chamberlain is. If not, look him up. Find some other videos on YouTube. Richard Chamberlain, he's classical actor, but this dude, I couldn't buy him as Blackthorn at all. But Mariko with Anna Swai, I felt that she carried the show. She knocked it out of the park. There was no warfare. There's a lot of drama, lots of filler episodes to carry the show on. Would I recommend this show? I would have in the beginning, but then as time went on, even this episode, to be honest with you, was not a good episode. So overall, I don't know how to rank it. If I have to give it, let's say, on a scale from 1 to 5, I'll give it a 2. From a scale from 1 to 10, I would give it a 4 or 5. It's a worth watching. If you have nothing better to do, it's worth watching. It's not, it's not groundbreaking. It's not like, oh my god, I have to watch the next episode to see what happened. It never gripped you that way because it was so much waiting, anticipation of something that's gonna happen, which is the war. They've been talking about the war since episode 1. The war never came. Whether they actually had the war or even had like an epilogue of Toranaga talking about the war would have been better. Yobashiki actually questioned Toranaga. He goes, "You want to be a shogun, don't you?" And Toranaga goes, "Why would I tell you? You're a dead man. I don't need to tell you anything about the future." Guess what, dudes? We want to see it. As a fans of the show, we would like to see what's going to happen in the future. Nothing. They didn't tell us anything. In the books and the original series, there was going to be a war. But this one, I guess they didn't like the idea of war, I guess. Whatever. But yeah, it's an okay show. That's all I can say. It was okay. I wish there were more, to be honest with you. I was looking forward to a lot more. I was, like I said in early reviews, I was hoping for a war, but the war never happened. So I'm very disappointed with that. You heard my review. It's not great. I don't really recommend the show for anyone besides the fact that if you watch the first 3 episodes, that's fine because nothing else happens later on. To be honest with you, nothing gets wrapped up. That's a wrap up for the series Shogun. With that said, if you guys have any other shows that's coming up, want me to do some reviews on, please leave a message down below. Give me a thumbs up. I'll talk to you guys next time, and take care.